Hey, I'm Stephanie, and it's the beginning of the month, which makes it time for a low-buy update. I don't know about you, but I am very much enjoying the latest season of Stranger Things. So today's look is supposed to be mildly 80s inspired. I didn't feel like going the distance and doing an actual 80s makeup look, because let's face it, that's a statement. But I did try to floof my hair up as much as possible, and I do feel like this print on my sleeves is kind of 80s reminiscent, so that's what I'm going for today. However, that is not what this video is about. If you are new to my channel, I have been on a low buy, or what some people call a replacements only no buy, since January of this year. So I just completed month 5 of my low buy, and to keep myself accountable, but also to put some positive, conscious consumerist vibes out into the metaverse, I document my progress in the form of monthly updates here on my channel. So I will leave a link to my low buy playlist in the show notes just in case you'd like to catch up. That playlist will of course include the intro video in which I discuss my rules and my goals for the project. However, if you would just like to jump right on in, the basic premise of this project is that I'm not purchasing any beauty products, clothing, or accessories for the entire year of 2022, with very few exceptions. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the purchases that I made in the month of May within the context of my low buy. And I'm also going to be talking about kind of the thought process behind that, because I do think that that's an important part of this project. So let's jump into things. In the month of May, I went on a very outdoorsy vacation to Croatia, and I was in the sun all day, every day. So I went through 2 bottles of sunscreen, which I have already repurchased. These are my go-to out and about sunscreens. This is the one that I use on my body, like when I'm at the beach. And this is La Roche-Posay and Thelios XL Nutritive Oil Sunscreen, SPF 50, broad spectrum. And I like it because I have very dry skin, like so dry that like sometimes the skin on my legs will get like almost flaky. And so this nutritive oil is just like a really nice, nourishing sunscreen that's also effective. So I really do enjoy this one. And this one is the La Roche-Posay and Thelios Invisible Fresh Mist Sunscreen. It's anti-shine, SPF 50, broad spectrum. And what I like about this one is it's very easy to use no matter where I am. It's kind of small, so it fits in a handbag. So if I'm out and about in the city and I've got a full face of makeup on and I want to re-up my sunscreen, I can just spray this on over it, and it's got that anti-shine thing, so it's not going to make me look weird. It doesn't mess my makeup up, but I still feel like I can up my sun protection. And so I just wanted to make sure I had these. Now, technically speaking, I'm on a replacements only no buy. And so technically, if I had other sunscreen in the house, I should have defaulted to that before purchasing more. And I did have other sunscreens in this house. But the reason I felt it was okay to go ahead and make these purchases is because I use different sunscreens for different purposes. And I feel like these 2 really are my most effective out and about sunscreens. And because I do tend to spend all of my free time outdoors, on the water, in the sun, I do feel like sunscreen is a very important thing that I don't really want to skimp on. And I feel like this particular sort of thing isn't really a beauty or skincare purchase. It's almost more of like a health and safety purchase. I only made one other low buy related purchase this month, and to be honest, this one is kind of a gray area. On my second day of vacation, I bought a pair of shoes. Now, shoes are something that I consider very clearly in the clothing and accessories category, meaning that unless I wore out a pair of my shoes so that they were no longer usable, I shouldn't be buying any shoes this year. So if I were being really legalistic about this low buy, then this is a purchase that simply should not have been allowed. But I'm not being legalistic about my low buy, even though it is very important to me and I definitely want to stick to it and be true to it this year. I feel like it's more important for me to stick to the spirit of the law and not the letter of the law this year. And here's why. The main purpose of this low buy is so that I can delve really deep into the things that I have, that I can discover the things that I enjoy most, and that I can experiment with them to try to find a way to develop my own sense of style. And the main reason I'm not purchasing anything is because I feel like adding things into my closet or into my vanity would be counterproductive because it's very hard to focus on what you already have when new things are constantly coming in. However, if I find something that has the potential to genuinely and significantly improve the quality of my life, I don't necessarily feel like I should have to wait an arbitrarily prescribed amount of time before purchasing that thing, especially if that item is for a very specific purpose, and that purpose is going to happen in a very specific window of time. For example, if I want to partake in a very certain activity while on vacation. And of course, I'm only on vacation for a certain number of days. And I feel like that was the case with this particular pair of shoes. I had never been to Croatia before, so I didn't know exactly what to expect, and I was completely unaware of the very rough and rocky coastline awaiting my tender little feetsy-weetsies. I also wasn't aware of the fact that I was going to have to hike and or climb to each of the beaches. So the shoes that I packed, a pair of sneakers and a pair of flip-flops, which seemed like they could be appropriate for a beach vacation, turned out to be completely the wrong footwear and were pretty unusable for the conditions. On my very first beach day, I ended up rubbing my feet very raw on those very rocky cliffs, making my way down to the water. So I bought a pair of very ugly but very functional waterproof shoes that I could use to climb in but also swim in. And they saved my feet from becoming bloody little stumps while I was on vacation. Not only did they protect my feet, but I feel like they also gave me the freedom to truly relax and enjoy my vacation because I could all of a sudden now explore everything there was there without injuring myself. And trust me, I was very much in need of a recharging vacation because my batteries were so drained before I left. So I feel like not only did these save my feet, but they kind of saved my soul. So I feel like this purchase at that time was a wise one that did not violate the spirit of my low buy, even though it technically violated the rules. The question is, though, am I just in denial? Like, am I trying to justify my decision? What do you think? When I think back to the point in time when I was making the rules for my low buy, that was December of last year, I think in general, I did a pretty solid job creating my rules because if you saw a couple of weeks back, I posted a video on temptations because I was going through a stressful time and I just really wanted to combat that with some retail therapy, but I couldn't because all of the things that I wanted to buy were all things that are related to my low buy. And so those rules kicked in and stopped me from buying anything. So I do think that they're effective. But at the same time, I didn't know back in December that I was going to be climbing rocky seaside cliffs in May. And so, I think had I known that, I would have written in an exception. But sometimes you just don't know how things are going to be until they happen. And I feel like flexibility is an important element in this project as long as it stays within certain constraints. And I feel like this did, because let's face it, these, not really stylish, very functional, but I won't be wearing them to the Grammys. To be honest, I think some people are probably thinking that I'm getting a little bit pedantic, going into such detail about, what may or may not be allowed according to the rules of my low buy. But I think that reflecting on my actions in detail like this is actually a very important part of this project because it teaches me about what my purchasing habits are and the sorts of things that I tend to buy. And I think that that's going to be really useful knowledge to me when this project is over and I can go back to purchasing things again. Because I don't feel like I necessarily had a massive problem with impulse purchases, but as I've gone through this year with my accompanying projects, so my project pans for my makeup, or my wardrobe projects like my one piece per week, or my latest adventure, my laundry basket of mayhem, as I've been doing these things, I've been using what I have with a lot more awareness. And I've noticed that a lot of the things that I have purchased throughout the years don't necessarily suit me. Now, sometimes it's just that, my life has changed or my sense of style has changed. And so those items used to suit me and they no longer do. And I think that's normal. But I've also noticed that there are several things that simply don't suit me. And I don't think they ever have. So when this low buy is over and I go back to allowing myself to make purchases again, I want the things that I buy to genuinely benefit me. I don't want to waste time or energy or money on things that don't actually suit me. So I feel like making a habit of putting a lot of thought into my purchases, but also kind of keeping a mental catalog of the things I have discovered about myself is just a healthy way of doing that and will help me make wiser decisions in the future. So to sum things up, during the month of May, I purchased 3 items that were related to my low buy categories. All 3 of them were more or less in gray areas, but I still feel like I can call the month of May a success. But let me know what you think. I'd be curious to know. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a wonderful week and that we can all remember that even stumbling can be a form of moving forward. So let's stumble in style.